Freak Nation, Brad Sweet, the Big Cat, back in the Freak Nation, Lucas Oil Studios, getting set for the 2025 High Limit Racing Series season starting in Las Vegas. So many things we want to hit with you, Brad. First of all, update your freaking Wikipedia page. It doesn't have you as the High Limit champion, you happy bastard. It still says
multiple times.
Are you supposed to update your own Wikipedia page, or that's something else? Somebody else does that, right? I've never even hardly looked at it, let alone updated it.
That's a great point. It's like wearing your own T-shirt to a race, right?
Yeah, exactly. So maybe you should update it.
Oh, snap. I like that.
All right. He's got his share of championships in the World of Outlaws, and of course, with High Limit Racing, he, Kyle Larson, are part owners, are the owners of the High Limit Racing Series. What can we see that's even bigger and better for the 2025 season? Because you guys continue to put butts in the seats and get some decent coverage with the series.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, just keep focusing on the fan engagement stuff and the entertainment value, the efficiency of the shows. We're definitely going to some new markets this year. Being able to go to Las Vegas is really key for us, I feel like, and Southern California, the Phoenix market with that Casa Grande racetrack, going to Amarillo, Texas, Vado, New Mexico, up into Wisconsin, around Minneapolis. So definitely going to some cool new tracks and some new markets this year. And then we'll roll out, some different things that we're going to do with our shows this year. And obviously we have a great group of drivers, that help entertain the fans night in and night out. So yeah, just, really looking forward to this season. I just really feel good about everything we built on from last year. And I think we can, keep improving on things that are going well for us for this season.
Roll out some different things with our drivers. I'm not going to let that slip. What does that mean? What newness with your drivers, things that you're rolling out, what's coming up?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're just trying to be, as fan friendly and fan engaging as we possibly can. So, our run of show, I think we're going to try to change some stuff around a little bit with, drivers doing autograph sessions, after qualifying, in the midway at their t-shirt trailers, so the fans can see them in their uniforms. It'd be kind of quick, something that allows the track prep crew to get the track prep, right, and it allows us to have a start time that's consistent night in and night out. So as far as the racing start time, so the fans will certainly get to meet the drivers. The kids, get to be up and close with them, and I think that's something that we did a few times last year that went really well. So excited to see how that goes across the whole season this year.
Brad Sweet, multi-time World of Outlaw champion, two-time High Limit Racing champion. Brad, I saw the race. It was outside of Kansas City. Was I-55? What was the track there?
There's one. There's I-70 Speedway that's in Odessa, just outside of Kansas City, and then there's Lakeside that's in Kansas City.
Okay, it was Odessa, I believe it was, last year. And I saw you a couple of times, and with you running the show, running the race, running for wins, running for Casey Kane, got to be honest with you, it looked like somebody beat the shit out of you. It's like your hair was up here and you're running around looking around going, yeah, and just pointing and doing this. Going, is this too much for the Big Cat?
Yeah, I mean, last year was probably, at times a little bit much, just, getting everything going. But I think we have a really good staff, that's going to do a really good job and allow me to get more focused on just driving at the races, which last year I was able to. Most of the nights, at the races, they handle things. And obviously I'm not involved in the competition side. Once I'm a racer, I'm typically a racer. I always want to make sure like the fans are getting in the front gate good and, we're starting on time. Those are things that I think are just ultra important, to keep improving our product. So, obviously I'm passionate about that, but, the racing side of things is, I feel like the staff that we have this year will allow me to just race and hopefully, all the planning that we've done all winter long with scheduling and, all our announcements and all the fun stuff we have this year will just, be executed throughout the season and it'll go well.
Brad, earlier you mentioned High Limit breaking into new markets. Here at SpeedFreaks and being based in Arizona, we've mentioned numerous times how there's a lack of a presence in series like NASCAR and IndyCar on the West Coast. And as a California guy yourself, how important is it to have a West Coast presence for High Limit and dirt racing in general?
Yeah, I think it's really important. I mean, as a national touring series, if you really want to be considered national, I feel like you got to go coast to coast. And it's weird how markets have developed. There's a lot of markets across the country that develop into, late model tracks and sprint car. They don't have a lot of sprint car fans. And then there's a lot of sprint car tracks that don't have a lot of late model fans. And for whatever reason, the West Coast I wouldn't call it a hotbed for sprint car racing as far as the fan base, but it's definitely got a lot more sprint car fans than anything else. So we do well, and I think the Phoenix, bringing back a national touring event in the Phoenix area will be really cool this year. And Jerry Petty and Brad Whitfield at Casa Grande have been updating the facility. It looks really good. They're bringing in more seats and things like that. So excited to go there and build something in that market, and obviously getting back to Paris and LA. The Los Angeles market, Paris Auto Speedway is a great track. Getting back into Vegas. So yeah, I feel like the West Coast presence that we have early in the year, and then we have great events late in the year as well when we're more in Northern California and then going up through Oregon and Washington. So we definitely hit in all the regions, and I think that's important when you're building a brand and trying to entertain as many fans as you possibly can.
Very nice. And you mentioned, this is going to be High Limit's third season, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Well, we started with 12 race midweek series, and then last year was our first, 50 race national series. So this is really our second national tour.
Okay, perfect. So I'm curious, what has the the interest level been like from other drivers and other disciplines like NASCAR, like IndyCar, drivers looking to come and make a start here on the dirt scene and just get out there and run for High Limit?
Yeah, I think a lot of people have been interested in our franchise, that we're going to issue franchises, next year. And, we kind of came out with that different concept for sprint car racing. We're trying to obviously, get more aligned with our team owners and build this into more of a sustainable business, as we go. And so we've had a lot of interest from owners and lots of questions from drivers. And we're teamed up with Flow Racing. They have a huge following and they do a great job as well. So, I think the sport's going to change a lot over the next few years. There's obviously the World of Outlaws and now us kind of, competing, but I think our goal is just to keep growing the pie. We want to keep growing sprint car racing, and 2 series seemed to do fine last year, and honestly, I don't see why we can't keep providing tons of sprint car entertainment across the country, together basically.
Brad Sweet, did I just hear you say that you're going to offer franchises next year? Are you doing a high limit charter system as well?
Well, it's a charter system, a charter agreement. I guess how I interpret, a charter agreement, and I didn't, necessarily go to any college. I'm not college educated, but it's a charter agreement, and then you can call them charters, you can call them franchises. NASCAR calls them charters, and I feel like they're the only ones that kind of do that. Everybody else, basketball, football, any other league, basically, if you're issuing anything, it's called a franchise. So we want to give our team owners franchises, and we want to have we want to grow the value with them and be transparent and share the revenue as the series grows, to make sure that we're all healthy and the ecosystem's working for everybody.
I'm sorry, but are you ready for the influx of team owners when that happens? I mean, that's huge. You were such a shock on the scene with High Limit because of your elevated purses and because of you kind of partnering next to some NASCAR weekends. It's just incredible that you guys constantly thinking outside the box, even though it might be commonplace in other motorsports, it's never taken place in dirt, and you guys are bringing it and making it happen. That's huge.
Yeah, I think it just shows that, how much Kyle and I believe in the sport of sprint car racing. And, we've made a lot of sacrifice, or I have, especially over the last 10 years of being on the road. And, I know that there's a lot of risk when you drive a sprint car and you're away from your family a lot. And I really believe in the product. I think that there's just, we've held ourselves back a little bit with how we've showcased the product. And that's something that, I've never thought that I would be in a situation that I get to put my spin on how we show sprint car racing. So I believe in the product. I think a lot of team owners that are investing, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in these race teams believe in sprint car racing and the product. So, if we can get everybody aligned and, have a vision and a strategy, there's no reason that we can't grow sprint car racing into, a much better product that's a lot more mainstream. It resonates with a lot more audiences, and I think you're already seeing that with dirt racing. I think that it's growing exponentially, and I think just with High Limit Racing, the World of Outlaws, I think the audience grew tons last year just with the newness of High Limit Racing, and the franchises. It was something that we kind of put out early. That we were issuing. Based off performance for these first couple of years. So we're going to issue 5 based off last year, and 5 more will go this year. And then we have some really fun announcements, coming up soon that will, create some clarity on what that actually means and entails. And I think it's going to definitely be pretty eye-opening for the sport.
Wow.
That's
You
badass.
Hold on. He said they were also holding each other back, or you're holding yourself back with the ownership of this High Limit series. So what does it look like when you're saying bringing this sport more mainstream? You're holding yourself back now. What does moving forward look like? Is it a network TV partner? Is it you're already expanding into bigger tracks? What does that look like?
Yeah, I think you're always searching for avenues, to showcase the sport, because we believe we have a great product. But I think when I say we've held it back, I think just old traditions and, somewhat of the way that the sport, has just developed and been accustomed to, 2 and 3 support classes, 4 and 5 hour nights of racing, maybe oversaturation just of 90 to 100 nights of racing. So there's a lot of things that I think, that it just became normal, but I think the culture and how, people think nowadays with social media, it's not like you used to get the news from the newspaper, so now everything's more instantaneous. People's minds are, you need to be entertained for an hour and a half, 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours at most, and then you're ready for something else. So I think we need to kind of align with what's more, in other mainstream sports and what's working for other sports. And you do see baseballs having to adapt to this, and you see what's working for Supercross, and you see, obviously NFL's thriving, and you see all these things. And, I just think that if you pay attention, sprint car racing is a great product if we can just show it the right way. And so whether that's through network TV, and we create a nice package that works on TV, or, the streaming services keep growing, but it's even the live product, it's how do we entertain the fans, shorter window, and so they come in there. It's 2 hours of pure fun and excitement, and then they go home and they want to see it again. Not 4 hours of misery and cold and kids miserable, which is kind of, maybe what's held dirt track racing back.
Brad Sweet joining us, Lucas Oil Studios. And Brad, you've been coming in here, as you know, since before you could shave. You and Brady Bacon back in the day, man. I think it was before your balls dropped. So go ahead.
I would say that was like 2007. So I mean, we're going on 20 years with you guys. I'm impressed that you guys are still together and doing this show. It's pretty awesome.
25 years this year, my friend.
That's awesome. Congratulations, right? Both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, you can't tell me that you don't keep tabs on how many times you beat Kyle Larson's ass. At least last year and a half. How many times have you beat Kyle in high limit racing?
The problem for me is that he beats me more, so it's hard to keep tabs because the damn guy's like, I don't know. It's annoying how good he is, and how he wins in everything he drives. But when I do beat him, I certainly try to bask in the glory, but it's usually short lived. So no, it's been fun, honestly, battling with Kyle. He's probably, people don't realize, but he's a little bit of a shit talker at times behind the scenes, and but he's kind of had my number lately. So I got to get myself a little bit better. So maybe I can beat him a little bit more this year. But we've had some good races, and honestly, really enjoyed working with Kyle and got to see another side of him with High Limit Racing. He's a lot more passionate and behind the scenes on some of this stuff than anybody would ever realize. And he really loves sprint car racing and obviously everything he's done for all of motorsport, but especially sprint car racing is we're really lucky to have him. So the battles are one thing, the family's another aspect, and then now business partners. So we got a lot going on.
So on that note, you bring in Christopher Bell to come in and kick some ass. What are you doing, man? They're taking your money.
I know. It's on one side, when you're the series owner, you're kind of like, hey, yeah, more big names. We like it. But as the racer in me, it's never fun to get overshadowed by those guys. But seriously, it's pretty amazing that we developed a series and you get talented drivers that are at that level to come race with us, and obviously it just helps so much with what we're trying to build. And so, and honestly, when you want to be the best, and so you want to race against the best, even if they do beat you at times. It's so much more gratifying when they're there and you do win. So it's got its pros and cons, and they definitely take a little money from us, but it definitely is. It's very gratifying when you can beat guys of that caliber.
Now, Christopher Bell's one name you mentioned there, but another guy who's been really heavily invested in the dirt racing scene as of late has been Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch, is he somebody who's kind of talked to you about making some starts for High Limit? And has he, I guess, come to you at all for any advice and how to handle these cars and whatnot?
Yeah, it's weird. Like, Rowdy was, I sucked when I raced stock cars. So I think Kyle always had this view of me as this like sucky, always spin out stock car racer. And it was nice. It's nice now that his son's in the dirt race, and I feel like he's, has a more of an appreciation for what we're doing on the dirt track side of things. So it's been nice to see him come out to a few high limit races. And I think he's, really into the micro stuff and developing Braxton. And, they're probably going to go midget racing and possibly be in sprint cars. So, it's, Kyle Busch, I think, ultimately wants to drive a sprint car. I think he just doesn't want to make a fool out of himself. So I think there's a proper way for him to, get some laps. And I think him and Kyle Larson have talked about that. And I think ultimately it wouldn't surprise me if Kyle would get in a sprint car. I can't guarantee, that, what he's going to think, or, if he'd race one eventually, but he's a great ambassador, for us. And you can tell he really loves the dirt track stuff. So excited to see. I think he's actually going to help with the, be around in Vegas, maybe do some commentary on flow. So yeah, we have a star-studded group. It's been crazy to see the NASCAR interest from the drivers and just the industry itself, in dirt track racing. So been really cool, and I think you're going to see a ton of the industry, around the Las Vegas races for sure.
Is somebody making dinner or breakfast or lunch right across from you? I hear a bunch of noise. Is that your kids? What is that?
That's probably my wife over working on something. Who knows? So I tried to, right before the show, I tried to tell her, like, hey, I'm getting on the show. And then she, it's just part of your office being in your house. You know what I mean?
We know that. Yes.
Is she shotgunning a beer right now?
No, that's my sister. She's
That's
the shotgunner.
Caitlin. Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
my wife. She's a little more flies under the radar than Caitlin. So, but honestly, my wife's she's a rock star with all this racing stuff, because we do run a racetrack up in Chico too. So that's kind of her baby. She does that. That's like her. She always reminds me this is what I signed her up for. So she's never really too happy with all the different ventures we're on.
Hey, all right, Brad, we'll end it with this. And I don't know how much you pay attention to it. Just give me some names. We do something called Beat the Freaks, and it's every Friday, Saturday, where we put it out there where we say what NASCAR drivers, your top 3 drivers, have a chance at winning the race. So we have a celebrity picker that drops the names out there. And so we're going to ask, and if they beat us, they win a set of General Tires, which you guys run on Hoosiers, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I'll take a set of General Tires for my pickup truck.
Well, I just meant
it's the same family.
Yeah, I just meant it's the same family, so it's not like you're.
Shit. Well, there I didn't even know that. So yeah, okay. So
all right.
Okay,
so
hold
Rich,
on. What track are we? What track is NASCAR at this weekend?
It's Phoenix.
Oh, okay. I can do that.
All right. So I'm gonna want Brad Sweet's top 3 picks. I'll introduce it. Richie, go full screen on this. All right. Not on me, but on Brad. There we go.
Oh, okay.
All right. So Brad Sweet, 5-time World of Outlaw champion, 2-time High Limit champion. I'm asking you, with Phoenix on board for the NASCAR Cup race for Beat the Freaks, who are your 3 top drivers to win the race at Phoenix in the Cup Series?
Okay, I'm going to take Ryan Blaney, Denny Hamlin, and William Byron.
Oh,
Wow.
oh, is
Yes,
that
dirt boys. You're dogging your dirt boys. Christopher Bell's the defending winner. Kyle Larson's won there before.
I actually forgot about Bell, but I was thinking Denny. He's been pretty good. William Byron's just been solid to start the season, and yeah, Kyle. That's not Kyle's best track, so I hope they prove me wrong. How about that?
there you go.
There you go.
Nice. I like that.
So I'll go for those guys because usually I'm wrong. So
Well, brother, this is awesome. It's always fantastic when we catch up with you, man. We'll see you more times this year down the road. Arizona, Las Vegas, and probably Texas, all right?
Okay, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for all the support and thanks for having me on.